The people here are so friendly. Wherever you go, everyone's like super happy to see how you're going and how your days be. Once you settle and you find your feet, it's like 100% worth it over and over. I will definitely advise anyone to do it wholeheartedly.
I'm Dr. CHAMONIX Blanche, ex-corporate and academical, turned CEO and board member of several companies and mother of 4 little extraordinary kids. But it wasn't that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the know-how, and the time to focus on designing and really going after the life that I so wanted to live. A life of freedom, of fairness, and of being fair dinkum to who I really was and what I wanted to get out of this fleeting time that we have on Mother Earth. Fast forward to many lessons learned and moving halfway around the world to the most amazing country, you'll see the life that I now live. One that gives me more safety and freedom than I ever thought would be possible, and that really only existed as a daydream while I was living in South Africa. I created CHAMONIX TV to give you true spot advice on how you can also live a life in this amazing country, and so that you can see how another couple like us now live in Australia with 4 little kids hearing down under. And I'll be providing you with step-by-step strategies so that you can make your Aussie dream a reality too. If you're a keen future Aussie who's looking to create a life that excites you and offers you safety, freedom, and opportunity, you have come to the right place, my friend. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Frank. Thanks so much for joining us today from beautiful Brisbane. How's the weather going there?
How's it going? Yeah, the weather's not too bad. It was really nice this morning, and this afternoon it's a little bit cloudy, but still really, really hot and humid.
And what's 30, 32 degrees, or what's the kind of temperature?
I'd probably say, maybe a little higher, like 34 up there. I might be wrong.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't looked yet, so
okay,
but
enough
to be uncomfortable.
So where are you from in South Africa originally?
So I'm from Johannesburg, from the western suburbs of Johannesburg.
Okay, from Joburg to Brisbane. And when did you make the big move?
Made the big move back in 2009. So that's like just over 12 years ago.
Do you think you're Aussie, or do you think you're still South African?
Probably a bit of both. I mean, it's hard to stick to one. You gotta fall into both categories. With the rugby or the cricket, whoever's winning, you can still be a winner at the end. So.
Yes, that's cool. It's really convenient if we can pick the winning side.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your journey. What made you come to Australia? Why Australia? And how did that all map out for you?
So it all happened extremely quickly, and it was it's just a big mix of everything that just somewhat fell into place. My neighbor next door in South Africa, I was still at the time living with my parents. She moved over to Perth. I think it's about 2 or 3 years before we did. And after they settled there, she invited my mom, because they were really good friends. She invited my mom over to go visit. And my mom went over and she came back and she's like, "Oh, that place is amazing. You guys have to come and have a look." And I think in secret, she was like job hunting for my dad. And she ended up finding something for him, and they came over for visits to Perth. And I only found out about his sort of job interview, I think it was, because he came over for the job interview. And I only found out about that whilst they were away on holiday. And I was like, wow, okay, this is something that I wasn't expecting. And when they came back, they said he got the job and basically just asked me if I wanted to come or not. And it was a bit of a tricky question for me to answer, because at the time I just started studying in South Africa, in Pretoria, or Tshwane. It was a bit of an emotional sort of decision to make because I really enjoyed studying. I took some time off after school, and I thought, this is a great opportunity for me to take my studies internationally and go see what else is out there. It's like, I'll see it as a bit of a journey. And everything happened so quick after he got his confirmation about the job. And we applied for our visas came through, and my parents were like, okay, great. So the moving company is going to be here in a couple of days, and then we're going to pack the house up. And I was like, wow, that's kind of turned very real very quickly.
Wow.
Here we are.
Okay, so what would you say from start to finish, from when your mom started looking until you guys made it into Oz? How long was that? Like week? Months?
It was a few months, like maybe 3 months, if that. I can't remember. But I remember from when we received we applied for our visas, and once that came through, between when that was approved, I think it was about a week or 2 weeks before we had to be here. So I remember that was extremely rushed.
Well, that is quick. 3 months.
Yeah, it was
quick.
It's around, yeah.
Well, that's great, because it didn't give you too much time to worry.
That's very true. It was kind of like either you want to come or you don't. And when I said, yeah, sure, I'll come, it's just, it didn't give time to overthink it or anything. Made my decision, and I'm happy I did.
Okay, so you then came straight to Brisbane with your parents, or what was the journey?
Yeah, straight over to Brisbane. Dad started work, I think straight away. And then my mum and I were basically just cruising around looking for shops, because when we first came, we stayed in a fully furnished apartment for, I think it was 10 days, somewhere there. And in that time, we basically had to find beds and stuff like that for when we moved into the house. And obviously the containers and stuff take, I think it was 6 to 8 weeks, they told us. And we just needed something to stay, somewhat relatively comfortably at the house without having to, stress too much until our stuff came. So we just shopping around whilst he was working hard. Have
you found IKEA back then? Because there's a nice IKEA in Brisbane.
We haven't. No, we haven't. We were kind of stressing because I afterwards, after we saw all that stuff and all our furniture arrived, then we saw IKEA and we were like, oh, this is like the perfect opportunity to buy everything.
Yeah, exactly right. Oh, well, I'm glad that you know about IKEA now, because for us it's really handy, and I have no problem with the quality of 99% of what IKEA sells. I think it's actually great. Some of our IKEA items last longer than many other more expensive things that we buy. So
definitely. I mean, the majority of the stuff that's when I moved out of home into my own apartment after I completed my studies, went to IKEA and basically just finished the place with everything I could get, which is handy because I've got everything. So and it's as affordable as well.
Okay, so you came with your parents on their visa, but you were a student. Did they get PR? What visa did they come on?
Yes, so they came over, and I remember there was a time frame we had to be here for before we could apply for PR. I think it was a year. And then once, I remember it was halfway through my studies, and my studies was 2 years. And then as soon as the window opened, we applied for permanent residency, and went from there.
Okay, so you studied as an international student initially.
I did, yes.
And then when permanent residency came through, you converted to being domestic student?
Yes, that's it. That's a pretty easy.
Handy few dollars to save.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I don't know why it worked out so much more expensive as an international student, but I think given the visa we came on, I think it was a TAFE, they somewhat understood what we were going through. And they're pretty good about it. So as soon as our application for PR went in, they worked with us and switched us over as soon as we got word that it was final.
What did you study?
I studied dental technology.
Oh yeah, I have a very, very, very good friend who's a dental technologist in Brisbane. So tell me a little bit about your job and how did you then obviously start off with, because you then finished your qualifications here. And
yes.
you just started working for somebody, or what's your setup at the moment?
I was very fortunate because part of, because dental technology is such a hands-on thing, it's mostly practical work that you do. And there's a fair bit of theory that you need to work through as well. But part of the course is they give you a little booklet, and for whatever stage in the course you're in, you've got to go to that type of laboratory and get hands-on experience. And then you get the owner of the laboratory, or whoever was supervising you, to just sign off on it. And I was fortunate enough to actually have to go to the dentist to get some, I had problems with the previous filling. And she asked me, what I was studying and all that, and I told her, and she's like, "Oh, there's a dental lab just upstairs." And I was like, "Wow, okay." And then she said, "Oh, come, let me introduce you." And I was like, "Oh, I don't really want to go. It's going to be a bit awkward." And then she introduced me.
That was before she numbed your mouth.
No, she actually introduced me after everything. So that's why I didn't want to go. I was like, this is going to be super awkward. And and then she introduced me to the guy, and he actually offered. He said, "Look, if you need any practical time in the lab, like give me a call, and we'll be happy to have you." And when it came to the practical bits in my studies, I just went to them, and they signed off on it, and they taught me so much before I even got to that point in my studies. And even before my studies finished, they said, "Look, if once you're done, please, we'll be happy to have you." And it all just fell perfectly into place. And I stayed with them for 5 years before I moved on.
Wow. Okay, that's a long time. And then you say you moved on. So what did you do when you moved on? Did you just go work for somebody else, or did you start your own thing?
Yeah, so from there, I moved on to a different laboratory, same work, but I sort of stepped up into a role just because the current place I was working on didn't have any opportunities for me to step up. And I switched over to the other company, worked in that lab for 6 months. And during that time, I was like, no, it's time for me to do my own thing. And I actually, because on the side, I was doing a little bit of orthodontic, dental technician work as well. And basically at the end of it all, rather than do crown and bridge, I kind of got over that. I thought, you know what, this is going to be a great opportunity for me to go on my own. And that in itself was a bit of a story. So I quit my job and I signed up with Uber. I drove Uber for a few months, basically until business kicked off good enough for me to not have to do Uber anymore. But Uber paid the bills, and I met some really cool people doing it. And then once everything settled, I just quit Uber, and I sort of did the dental tech thing again full time.
That's awesome. I love it that you plugged the hole with something else. That's great.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, to me, I found that Uber was the perfect thing to do, because you can work at your own time. You meet so many people, you can network. And I drove so many dentists, and they always ask "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And I tell them, and then I'm like, "Oh."
And they probably go, "No way, you can't be a dental technician and drive Uber."
That's it. And it was good. I had some really great conversations in my car with some very, very fascinating people. And here I am.
That's awesome. And now I'm sure you have so much work, you don't have enough time in the day.
I've got a fair bit of work, yes. I'm not overworked though, which I'm pretty excited about, because I know there's a few other dental technicians that they struggle. They really struggle. And like you said, high in demand. There's, it's hard to find good quality technicians to fill the gap if you need some help.
Yeah. How did you find the transition from, I assume, Pretoria Technikon? Is that right? I don't know what's the newest name. That's what it used to be called back in the day. From there to was it QT? Where did you study in Brisbane?
No, I studied at the South Bank Institute of Technology. I think it's called TAFE now. I don't think South Bank TAFE, which is like a Technikon as well. It's basically all the hands-on stuff. I know they offer like beautician courses, like masseuse roles, welding, catering, cooking, stuff like that. It's like anything that's like hands-on. And to be completely honest, I found it very frustrating because when I was studying at the Tshwane University of Technology, I found that almost in the first semester of my studies there, I learned more theory than what I learned throughout my whole 2 years here at TAFE. And also I had so many interesting questions because I had done some prior study to coming here. And when the lecturer was talking about certain things, when I had a question, I found that some of them couldn't be answered. So to me, it was a little bit frustrating, but I got over it in the end. And I found when I started working at that dental lab above the dentist, or just spending my time there, they were very helpful in teaching me the right way.
Learning on the job, yeah. So is it a 3-year course generally?
Over here, I think at that TAFE it's 2-year. Over in South Africa, it was a 3-year with an additional 4th year for your degree. So it's a 3-year diploma. But I think down on the Gold Coast at Griffith, it's a 3-year diploma, I think. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
And tell me about your parents' visa application. What did they come under? What does your dad do?
So he's also a dental technician, and he started working at the University of Queensland as their senior lab manager, and he was doing a little bit of teaching as well to the orthodontic students, like it was the pre and post-grad students. And my mom at the time, I think she was running a real estate company in Johannesburg, and she just came over and basically just I don't think she had a job for the first little while, and then she went back into real estate.
And she's still doing that or not?
No, she's actually a stay-at-home wife now, so she's just cruising at home, sort of
nice.
Planting plants and growing veggies and whatnot. So she's pretty happy with that.
Okay, well, she's had 10 years to find her feet in Australia. I'm sure she can now sit back and relax and enjoy the fruit of her labor, settling in and making the big move. And are you an only child, or did you have siblings that came across?
No, I've got a brother. My brother is still in South Africa. So whenever we can, we arrange a visit either here or I know my mom used to go back quite often to see her parents, but unfortunately when they passed away, we tend to sort of bring my brother over here so he gets a bit of a fresh view rather than just stay at home and have us visit. He can come here and have a bit of a holiday.
So he has no interest in coming over? I mean, permanently?
I don't know. That's a hard one to answer. I know he's shown a bit of interest, but he's also shown a bit of, a bit of pushback, because he's got a pretty good job over there. He's kind of settled in pretty good, and I think that he's reluctant to give up everything to start over here, especially at this point in his life. I don't see that that's a problem. Many people do it, and I think it's going to be easier for him to do it with family here. We've already built a network. We already know people. It'll be easier for us to help him into like a sort of part-time job until he settles in to do what he wants to do. But we'll see what happens.
How old are you and how old is he?
I am 36 and he's turning 38 in March. He's 18 months older than me.
Okay. All right, so he's got time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
plenty of time. Yeah,
that's
and
exciting.
I mean for his type of work, it's I think he'll do really good because he's in the bicycle industry, and the bicycle industry here has massive compared to South Africa. So I don't think you'll have any struggle to get a decent job and get into it. So yeah.
I keep working on him. If you're watching this video, what's his name?
Joshua.
Come on, Josh. You can do it. Aussie has some amazing spots you can cycle in, and guess what? It's safe.
It is safe.
How good is that?
It's awesome. And I mean, just over here in Brisbane, you can easily do, I'd say maybe like 40 or 50 kilometers without even going onto the road, just like bike path, bike lanes and everything. So it's pretty good. And mountain bike, like, I mountain bike as well, and so does he. Awesome spot for it. Really good.
Yeah, well, just behind, you said to me you live in Toowong, and I know just behind you or near you is a very big hill. Shall we call it, not a mountain? They're in Brisbane. Well, Brisbane is very hilly, ups and downs. So I'm sure if you want a bit of exercise, just beat the road outside of your doorway, and you'll find lots of this, then that, then this, then that.
It's pretty good. If this little shutter was, this shutter wasn't there, you'd probably see Mount Cooper, just the tip of it. But the tip of it is tiny, the hill. It's not a mount, it's a hill.
That's right, that's a hill. Maybe not as high as Table Mountain, but it will certainly build up a sweat if you try and cycle it out.
Oh yes, no, definitely.
So tell me, Frank, what do you do in your spare time? You're in Aussie Oz.
So I used to mountain bike a lot. I've kind of grown out of that a bit because I used to do a little bit of racing in South Africa, and it's just something I've always done that I kind of wanted to explore a little bit more. And when I was studying, I'd made my first overseas trip to Europe, and that was good. And then I think the first time when it actually bit was when I went over to New Zealand. And when I went to New Zealand, travel bug bit hard. And since then, before COVID, we used to go on maybe at least one international holiday every year. We'd save up and then we'd make like a nice big 3-week holiday. And sometimes even go twice a year, depending on where we go. And I think that's travel's become a big part of my spare time, researching, just exploring, daydreaming, that sort of thing. And it's just enjoying the local. I mean, we've got some epic beaches around here. I was actually just came back from Moreton Island yesterday afternoon. Spent a few days there for a friend's birthday. And earlier on in the year, last year, was it September, August? Late last year, we went to Fraser Island for about a week.
Beautiful.
4x4s, and that was also like really cool.
Did you camp on the beach?
We didn't camp on the beach, luckily, because the weather was not great for the beach. But we camped just off the beach in the one spot. I think at Waddy Point, we camped just behind the hill in the campsite there. And I'm kind of glad because we driving up the beach, we saw the people's campsites and their tents were like all wonky and the gazebos were like hanging off by like little threads, and it was hectic, but it was fun. It was fun.
Oh, I love Fraser. It's one of the most beautiful islands in Australia. And you need to be really on the ball when you're driving around because people go so fast on the beach. For those viewers who don't know, Fraser Island, you can drive on the beach. There are proper roads on Fraser Island. It's all just like off-roading. and you go so fast. They have airstrips that land, aeroplanes that land on the beach there. I know, because we camped like on the beach right next to where the aeroplane landed, and we didn't know at that point in time necessarily. So the next morning we woke up and it's like, whoa, look, there's an airplane coming. It looks like it's going to land on our tent. Anyway, it was a great experience. But what happens is, because there are a number of inland rivers, streams, probably more like it, that flows into the ocean, it caves out these dips that you don't see if you go really fast with your 4x4 on the beach. And then a lot of people have, luckily not us, it was just Carl and I, and we were really responsible. But I can imagine if you're there with a group of friends and you're like, so there's been a number of people who've lost their lives doing that, because they just go at ridiculous speeds and then don't see because it looks all flat until you're literally on top of it, and then it's too light. But beautiful. And the dingoes that hang out there, we did see the dingoes when we were camping, and I was like, oh, what are they going to do? Are they going to like eat us alive? And they teach you all these tricks about what not to do with your food and things.
Yeah, I remember they said the eskies or the cooler boxes, you need to not just latch them on, because the dingoes, if they get into camp, they actually unlatch them. So you have to tie them with a ratchet strap to prevent it from being able to be opened. But we were walking on the beach, and the dingo came out in front of us, and it turned around and it gave us sort of like a dirty look. And I told my friends, I was like, I don't know, I'm not going forward anymore. We'll just wait. And then he started coming towards us, and luckily a car came from behind us and scared him away. So I got a bit nervous there, because they look pretty hungry. They don't look like they
do. And that's one of the things that they teach you, like when they put on those signs. I don't know if you've seen it. They say, don't worry about the dingoes. They're not underfed or something like that. They do look skinny. But that's how it is. That's like, that's what they look like. They're not supposed to be looking like your sausage dog or whatever it is that you have at home that you like pump up, or any of my Yorkshire Terriers. The width and the length is not necessarily in the right dimensions for my two dogs.
You just love them, that's all.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so traveling, and then COVID, not really the same kind of sentence that you can put them in.
No.
So what does claustrophobia do to Frank?
It drives me up the walls. I get cabin fever extremely quick, and I feel like if I sit down for too long without being productive or doing something, I just waste a day. So my wife's complete opposite. She loves Netflix, sits on the couch being a potato all day, and that's her thing. But to me, I can't do that. And usually I go for a walk, or I've got a motorbike, so I take my motorbike out for a drive or ride. Or recently we got a pup about 6 months ago. So now I can take him for walks to dog parks and stuff like that. And generally the more I have to stay in, the more I want to get out. It was pretty tough. It was pretty tough when we sort of had to stay at home and isolate and that sort of thing. But luckily it's not as bad anymore.
Well, the borders have now opened. I don't know like how much you want the borders to be open before you leave, but you can leave. Have you been vaccinated? I guess that's a personal question. If you don't want to answer it, feel free.
No, I'm actually unvaccinated due to just personal reasons. But to be honest, like I think I'll have to wait a little before I can. But with me being self-employed, it's a big risk to go anywhere now, just because if they decide, we've seen this, to shut the borders overnight, then I'm going to be stuck somewhere where I can't work and earn a living, and it's going to be disastrous. So I think I'd be looking for more, how can I say, more stability after all this craziness. And once it's a bit more stable, then yeah, we'll look at definitely booking an overseas trip.
Where would that first trip take you?
I actually don't know. It's actually quite funny because I got married in March of 2020, and the day after we got married, we had a small wedding, so it wasn't too affected by all the rules and regulations. But a day after, they basically shut everything down, all events, and the borders as well. So my brother was stuck here for a couple of months, which was great. And then we never got to have our honeymoon, and we're going to go over to Italy for our honeymoon. So I feel like it will probably be over in Europe again at some point. I think that's going to be the first target. Yeah, either there or possibly New Zealand again, just because it's quick and easy, and we've got some friends there that we really need to visit. So
yeah. To go back to, have you been back to South Africa much? I mean, obviously pre-COVID.
Yeah, I've been back twice. In the 12 years, I went back for a visit in 2013, which is a year. I was still busy studying. Yeah, I went back to South Africa, which was really nice. No, I wasn't studying. I'm lying. I graduated in 2011. Yeah, 2 years after studying. And then back in 2015 for a friend's wedding. So, but apart from that, I haven't been back because there's so much more to see in the world. I was like, if I want to travel somewhere, I'd love to go back, but you've got to see some new places.
Yes, you only have that much leave and dollars that can take you places.
Yeah, that's it. So you got to use them wisely.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Frank, it has been really lovely to chat to you. Thanks for sharing your story and enlightening us about how it is to come over as a student, having started in South Africa, and then I must say midway. It's not midway, but some way through, quarter way, eighth way. Anyway, some way. Some way through, and then making Australia your home. Would you say that it's been a good move? I guess before I leave, what's the best thing for you about living in Australia? And do you have any advice to any other people considering making the move over?
Yes, so I love being here. The people here, and this is actually something that I noticed on the first day when we stopped at a service station or a garage in South Africa. My mom stopped to fill up with fuel. I went inside to get something to drink, and when I got to the counter, the person behind the counter said, "Hey, how's it going?" And I was like, "Oh, good. How are you?" And she's like, "Oh, good. Yeah, how's your day been?" And she just struck up a full conversation, and I was shocked. I went to my mom, and I was like, "The lady inside just wanted to chat. That's weird." And that's something that always stuck with me, because the people here are so friendly. Wherever you go, everyone's like super happy to see how you're going and how your day's been and all that stuff. But I struggled. I'm not gonna lie. When I first came over, I struggled because it's a big move. You leave a lot behind, and it takes some time to settle. But once you settle and you find your feet, it's like 100% worth it over and over. I will definitely advise anyone to do it wholeheartedly, rather than try and hang on to maybe see if they want to go back. Don't go back. If you want to come here, because it's great. And it's just, life here is nice. You don't have to worry about locking up at night, or you do, but there's not this overhang panic if you forgot to lock your door. You can still sleep good. You can walk out in the street. My wife can take my dog for a walk without me having to worry. And I think, to me, that's that sort of freedom of movement. You can be free physically and emotionally. You're not caught up with any negative feelings all the time. And once you get over and past that, it's the best liberating feeling ever.
Oh, good. Is your wife Aussie or South African or something else?
She's Australian. Yeah.
Australian. Oh, lovely. Oh, thanks again. I do appreciate it.
No
And
problem. Welcome.
yeah, enjoy that beautiful place. Toowong is an absolutely gorgeous area. If you haven't been to Brisbane yet, to our viewers, that's definitely a spot you want to go and check out. And I guess, as I said to you earlier, I used to work in Toowong. So yeah, Brisbane, beautiful place.
That's a good
So
spot.
you are blessed.
Yeah, if they come to Toowong, you might see me walking my beautiful dog on the street. And you can say,
next to the river. Next to the river there, because it's like by the river. So it's
next
beautiful.
to the river. Oh yeah, we're a bit far from the river. So, well, not far from the river, but we like to take him the opposite way because the dog park is there. So we've got like a little loop where we can take him off the lead and let him have a run around and everything.
Oh, good fun. Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'd like to stay in touch and see how your business and your life continues on in Australia. Maybe one day you can pop back in and let us know.
You are very welcome. Let me know and I'll be happy to do so.
Awesome. Thanks, Frank. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you had fun, please remember to hit that subscribe button and then it'll make sure that you never miss a thing. I'll see you same time and same place next week. Bye for now.